next speaker is going to be Mr. Brett Salakas. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and welcome Brett. Brett has a leadership experience within the New South Wales as a senior consultant. Brett has a rare experience of having taught from kindergarten to year 10. He is passionately committed to turning into educational theory into a real classroom practice. He has been a keynote speaker at multiple international conferences in Australia, Asia, Europe, and North America. Let's go ahead and welcome Brett on board.
Brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic to be with you here tonight or this morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. And in lovely Australia, where I'm speaking to you right now, it's very dark and the evening is certainly upon us now. I'm going to talk to you today about digital escape rooms. Digital escape rooms are a very powerful pedagogy. It uses a very simple technology, but what it really does is actually it captures the traditional teaching practice, what we know about good quality teaching and learning, and merges that with modern technology so that we have a very effective and powerful approach. I'm going to show you a few things, plus I've got something a little bit special that I have put together to share with you today. So to begin with, let's progress. Okay, so we know that Maria Montessori said once that the greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say that the students are now working as if I did not exist. This has been very, very true and very, very poignant when we consider the challenges of remote learning. The whole world has had to come to deal with over the past 12 to 18 months or so. So we've had to set up practices, we've had to set up techniques, we've had to set up opportunities for students to learn where the teacher may not have been in the same room for them. They're actually a digital incarnation of what Maria Montessori was talking about when she made this quote many, many years ago. The opportunities need to be there, the pedagogy needs to be there, the quality learning needs to be there, but the students need to be able to do the work as if the teacher is not in the room next to them. And the pedagogy, the technique that I'm going to share with you today makes all of this possible. So to begin with, I thought I might actually share with you something very special before actually going through my my digital solution for you, and it's actually a poem that I have written, a poem that captures the spirit of this digital inquiry, this digital knowledge, being able to get students to work on this digital platform and understand at a greater level. The Ed Poets Society is a group, it's an international group of educators who do meet. We've had several poetry slams in North America, here in Australia, in Europe as well. And some of the ideas that are shared through the medium of poetry are very powerful. The poem I have written and I'm going to share with you today is called Digital Inquiry. Ancient lessons repeated annually are left behind. Old words and photocopied instructions act as flaccid chains of tedious impotence printed onto A4 sheets of paper. New words promoting digital inquiry sound strong like Hercules, thought-provoking and sure to please. The teacher calls to her students, climb aboard, I'm a runaway locomotive. I'm a high-speed word train about to collide with your tympanic membrane. Provocations are laid gently like Eric Carle's eggs on a full moon night. Curiosity hatches, and like a very hungry caterpillar, it devours information as if it's 3 plums on a warm Wednesday morning. Stand back. Students are going online. Their brains are engaged. And the learning is sublime. Information flow has now begun. To the teacher, it is poetry. To the student, it is poetry. Try because the effort is real. As they toil, They wrestle with understanding like an anaconda drowning them in a sea of comprehension. Impersonating Tarzan, the teacher swings in to rescue trapped students. She weaves a virtual cocoon for me and for you. We enter as one, but we leave as two. In the chrysalis of support from which we all momentarily reside, the teacher whispers, the words you know, the meaning you miss. Listen here while I show you how to avoid the abyss. Wisdom is shared. A butterfly emerges. All only possible when tech and teaching converges. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to move along because right now I'm going to show you the heart of my lesson here today, and that's to talk about digital escape rooms. Now, digital escape rooms are very much where we have a contained lesson or even a series of lessons contained in a password protected scenario where students need to complete one task, obtain the password, and open up the next task. So they have the agency, they have the freedom to resolve each section as they go through, but the teacher has the power to set up each lesson to the level, the difficulty, the challenge, the curriculum links that they desire. I'll show you what I mean. So the concept here, and I want to be very open, the concept of these digital escape rooms came out of something that you might be familiar with, and that's these Breakout Edu. So Breakout Edu, a friend of mine, Andrea Tolley, showed me these Breakout Edu, and they have physical boxes that you can actually order online, and they're creative thinking. They're like puzzles, where a student has a puzzle, or the group of students have a puzzle, and they need to be able to solve the puzzle. They get out, that they find out what the solution is, and they maybe then get a key if they can solve that puzzle. They get the key, they open up the key, that opens up one lock. Once they've opened up that, there's another piece of information. On there, there's maybe some challenges, and there are some key numbers there. Those numbers then open up a padlock combination, so you can open that up, and you should keep opening up until the students get to the core part. So it's a very much of a creative thinking scenario. What I've done is I've taken this, and I'm not the only person who is doing this type of work. I've been sharing this now for about 18 months, 2 years so, and there are a number of other people around the world who are doing similar work. But what we've done is we've taken this concept, and actually, instead of it just being a challenge where children have to decode something, we've actually put curriculum activities in the work. So I'm going to show you here what we do. We ensure by using this that the work is student paced. We can block out teacher settings. So like I said, we have a platform. I tend to use OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, to do this, because Microsoft OneNote lets you have different tab sections. But any platform that you can apply a password to password protect the section, you can do these sorts of activities. So I set up my activity, and I've got my teacher check-in, because the students, they might do the work. As they send me the work, I will read their essay. I might not give them the password until their work is at the quality that I'm happy with. Then I will pass that student the password. That unlocks the next task. So I've got quality control as I go along, but the students are working at it at their own pace. By me setting up the activity, we can ensure deep learning, and we've got this quality sort of control. Now, after our session today, if you want to share with other teachers in your network, people at your school, I actually have a 5-minute video that shows you how to build your own digital escape room. So I've made this video here, salakas.me/remote learning, actually shows you step by step how to build your own escape room in OneNote. And I might actually show you that now. So I'm just going to change screens for a moment. I'm going to bring up here a sample, and you should be able to see here, I actually have a OneNote, and you'll see I've got a welcome, a first task, and some clustered activities across the top. So it's these clustered activities, these individual activities, all of these tasks, they're the tasks that I'm able to put in my my work. So here, it's all traditional pedagogy. It's everything we know about face-to-face teaching. So I've got my welcome here. I can insert a recording of my voice talking to my students for familiarity. I can have audio of me. You see here, I've actually got an already dropped in here a sound file, so my students can hear my voice, and they get to listen to me explaining the task to them. We know also that having learning intentions, these are, again, traditional pedagogies that we know. We know that if I provide students with learning intentions, they're more likely to retain information. So on my opening slide here, I can have my expectations. I can have my learning intentions there. So straight away, I log on. The students see what learning is going to be about. They hear my voice explaining the activities, and they can see what the learning intentions are, so they know what they're going to do. All things are very sound traditional pedagogies just being delivered on this digital platform. They come up to their first task, and you'll see the first task is colored, and then we have a series of tabs that are gray. We come up to the first task. Now, I always like to make the first task very simple. So in this case, it's a comprehension activity. I've got some text. I've got a YouTube clip for my students to go to. They go off to the YouTube clip. Then I have a question. And the answer to that question is actually the password to the next activity. So in a real classroom setting, I might have a series of questions with obviously answers that are required, and maybe the first letter from each of the answers, that might be the password for the next task. So students have got their own agency. They can work through the activities at their own speed, but they can't go to the next activity until they've got it accurate, until they've got it correct, because the correct answer is the password. So if they haven't listened properly, if they haven't comprehended where I've sent them, they're not going to be able to unlock the next task. So in this case, one of the tricks that I have learned is that you actually have one tab that you know what the password is, and you keep your passwords there in case anybody gets stuck. So in this case, I know that Bello, capital BELLO, is my password for my clustered activities. So I've got my first task here. It says down here, the question, after watching the video, what is the name of the co-founder of Breakout Edu? His first name is Adam. His last name is Bello. So I would click on the clustered activity task. I can't go to it now because it's password protected. I simply click on it. It asks me to put in my password. I put in Bello. Click OK. And this unlocks my next activity. In this case, my next activity, I've called it a clustered activity. I have 3 set activities, and I've just put in some Latin here as example. I've got 3 set activities. I can also diversify my activities and pitch them and make the work a little bit more personalized for my students. So I couldn't have optional extras there, so that I have differentiated my work for my students that perhaps need more support, or my students that perhaps need further extension. And they will need to do these activities. So they might need to do these 3 activities or these 4 activities. Now, the length of time it takes to complete one of these tasks varies greatly. You might want to do it just in one period. So you might have just a 45-minute, 50-minute, 1-hour period that you want your students to be able to do. So if you've just got a series of very short, sharp tasks that they can move a lot in, around in quickly. I've done this type of platform where a whole term's worth of work is done in. I've done a science program where 10 weeks of activities, and students came in just a few times each week to complete the task during their science time. So there's a lot of flexibility for the teacher in how you want to administer the task. What I've done here is I've suggested that we've got smaller activities, 3 of them with an optional 4th. And that as we scroll down, you'll see here, I've asked the students to provide a digital artifact. Digital artifact might be a video, it might be a series of photographs. It all depends on what the tasks were. Once they've had that artifact, maybe it's just a slide deck. Once they've had that slide deck put together, they send that to me. I can look at it to verify, yeah, they have done all of the activities that I want. So I'm doing that quality control. Yes, yes, yes. And then I provide them with the password to go on to the next task. So this allows students to interact at a speed which best suits their abilities. And it lets me have a look to make sure that I'm happy with the quality of work that they're doing. Now, the next password that I was going to give here was answer. Single task is answer. So I'm going to go show you here. Next task here is answer, capital A, answer. This opens up this task. Now, this task might just be one singular task, but it might be a very comprehensive task. Perhaps I'm asking students to write an essay. Perhaps I'm asking them to complete a report or compile a whole thing. So we've got our clustered activities that they might have multiple ones, and here I've got a very large task. This is where I can make sure that my high expectations come in to ensure deep learning. So say, for example, I am asking students to compile a report of some sort. They might compile their report, they send it off to me, I get a look at it. I don't even have to be in the same room. I don't even have to be technically in the same city or the country. They send me the work. I can have a look at it. Well, I'm not happy with the introduction. In this report, I can't see any diagrams. Your conclusions are not overly sound. I send back my feedback to the student and I say, I need you to improve this, this, this. Here are some examples. I can just drop my audio in so I can actually explain to them so they can hear me explaining it. They get the feedback, they make the alterations, then they send back to me the improved piece of work. Again, this is all good traditional pedagogy, giving students feedback, letting them improve. Then when they go, okay, now it has met my standard, now I'm happy with the quality, the level of work that is being produced, then I can give the password for that student to progress along. So it's a very simple technique. We're just password protecting different activities. And in this scenario, I'm using OneNote as my example, but it's that simple technique, but it is very, very powerful. And it's allowing us to use technology to bring forth those traditional pedagogies that we're all very, very familiar with. So look, that's actually my session. I hope you enjoyed it. If you go back, you can take that now, salakas.me/remote learning. Feel free to share that. Feel free to go and have a look at that. Just a 5-minute explainer on how to set up a digital escape room. I hope you enjoyed the poem. I hope you like the idea. I certainly love the idea of respecting what we know as teachers, respecting what we've known for decades, if not centuries, that knowledge that we've had for a long time, and bringing that in to our modern times with the technology, and certainly resolving some of our situations here. So thank you very much. That is my session now. I'm open for questions at this point, I believe. Brilliant. I'm just going to open up the chat. Okay. Should we be concerned that as the world becomes more diversified, decentralized, and dependent on technology, this would lead to higher risk of unmanageable failures in either physical, social systems that underpin survival? It's a pretty deep one. I'm going to answer that with the way the spirit of this concept was. This is a pedagogical practice that solves the problem of remote learning, plus enables teachers to give agency to our students so that our students don't have that same situation where they are constantly under pressure and the teacher needs to look over their shoulder in that physical sense. But what what this task enables us to do is to be able to let the students find their own way. So if they have maybe slower internet at home, if they've got different technology, this gives them the freedom to be able to resolve their situation, resolve the problem as best suits them. And this goes a little bit to the way of answering the second question. The second question says, what current challenges of school systems face in switching between technologies and upgrading? At no point when I had those activities did I say a student had to give me a Word document. No point did I say the student had to give me a specific thing. What I asked them to do was complete a task. I asked them to have a look at and give me an answer. So this is not a technology-based scenario. This is not a purchase. This is not an infrastructure. This is a way of thinking. This is a way of teaching. This is a technique to give students agency, give them the freedom to be able to do the task at their pace and resolve the situations and the challenges that you give to them in their own way. And then when they send it back to you, you as the teacher give still, even remotely, that one-on-one personalization of feedback so that you can then explain how to best complete the task and then how to continue learning. I believe they're the questions that have been asked so far. Are there any other additional questions at this point? All right. Well, look, thank you so much. I really appreciate the invitation to be able to share what I have here. I have just had another question slip in. I might just answer that quickly. So, what do you think about student-teacher ratio is important for digital learning? Look, I think it is probably dependent upon the needs of the school environment and the community that you have. If you are in a circumstance where you have very, very able students and they are in a very supportive environment where they have great technology, great infrastructure, high speeds of internet, they're probably going to be able to cope a little bit easier. And as long as you can then give that personalized learning, it's achievable. When you have other challenges where students may not have that same infrastructure, then you might have to increase that ratio so that the students get that more personalized learning. The reason why I like this task, see, right now, if we're live here, I'm speaking to you, I need to be here right now, and everybody listening at the same time, we need to be doing exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. So our ratio, while it's not 1-to-1, our need to be present at the exact same moment is very, very essential. Whereas with the pedagogy that I have shared with you today, this technique of digital escape rooms, the freedom of time allows the student or the family, if it's a remote setting, to be able to work with it and overcome that ratio disadvantage so that the student can work with the task in their time, reply to the teacher, and the teacher can give that personalized feedback. Look, I just want to thank all the teachers around the world who have had to work so very, very hard in these last 12 to 18 months to be able to overcome the challenges. It's a real credit to us as a profession. And thank you very much, everybody here present, to listen to me coming all the way from Australia to share some pedagogical practice with you today. And I look forward, perhaps one day, even being lucky enough and fortunate enough to come over to Qatar and meet you and work with you. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you on our platform. Thank you for coming and sharing insights. I'm sure everybody is delighted to have you on board and to listen to your session. Thank you so much once again.